the TV. No, really, TV, cameras and going on and shit like that. Huh? I'm telling you, man. I'll show you how to make a living with this stuff. I'll show you how to have the people eating right out of here.
Vietnams or Chinese or Japanese. You my opposer when I want freedom. You my opposer when I want justice. You my opposer when I want equality. You won't even stand up for me in America for my religious beliefs, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home.
All right. Sorry, I fucked up the audio. Fuck. Here, wait, hold on. And then I forgot to transition you, so you can hold it up again. There we go. Okay. I remember what I'm doing. There's the kratom. As always.
We're pros, baby. We're pros.
Says Nathan.
Nathan, the Romney man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you worked on Romney's campaign, what'd you drink in there?
I found this.
What is that? What is that?
I found this.
It's a kitty cocktail.
Is it literally a kitty cocktail?
With tequila, yeah.
that's I don't know what kind of kids or what kind of childhood you had if that's a kitty cocktail.
It was lit. That's what it was. It was a lit childhood. Good
Yeah.
I also want.
What were you saying?
I want to say real quick that I found this at a University of Illinois classroom in fall 2012. Back when I was in school, Romney Believe in America, and I just thought it was so fucking funny that you would just be inspired by the Romney campaign so much that you would buy a thermos thing, and they must have sold 12 of these. And
no, they definitely were paying people to take those.
Yeah, who is paying for those? That's outrageous. They were just hoping for any sort of like an attempt at appearing grassroots.
That's great.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing to have in 2012 to have wanted to get Barack Obama out, but it's enough to be like, you know who I'm so fucking jazzed up about that I'm going to buy a water bottle from? Mitt fucking Romney. Mitt fucking Romney. Like that's.
Dude, it's amazing what a black person running will do. It'll really inspire the opposition.
He had trouble
That's a good point.
He had trouble getting turnout that election. I remember there was a mild worry that like Obama wasn't going to inspire everyone again, and what happened with Trump essentially was going to happen with Obama the second time.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. I don't remember any of that shit.
I mean, I don't know how legitimate the fear was, but I know, I'm pretty sure his turnout in 2012 was like much less than in 2008.
Really?
Yeah.
It was.
Well, I mean, but also,
so high.
But see, that's the thing. I don't think that necessarily means that he inspired people less. I think because 2008 is like an outlier. I mean, like it was like the first time we got a chance to vote for a black dude. So, like, I don't think there's any chance any possible way he could have.
Well, we thought he was going to give us health care and shit, because he said he was.
Oh. You mean he lied to us?
No, he was handcuffed by his mandate from the people and his supermajority in the Senate and gigantic majority in the. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
All I'm saying is I believe in America. That's what I think of that.
So you don't think we have to make America great again?
No, I already believe in America. I believe in America.
Good.
Romney 2012.
That's good.
Yes.
Good.
So
I have on my car there are two stickers: Romney 2012, Believe in America, and Dukakis 88. Those are my two stickers.
Still
that I
believe
have
in
on my car.
Dukakis. Still going for, yeah. I took too much kratom before I went to work today and vomited in the bathroom. So that was lit.
Nice.
That was lit.
Well, so you told me that you're getting paid to vomit. Is that what happened?
Well, I'm on salary, so what I do on my time is, I think, it's already bought, parceled, and sold. So
Damn.
I don't know
I'm
if you
sorry,
can
I
get into the
can't relate.
Pacifics. Yeah. So
Yeah, I can't relate. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Green, white, or red?
White, dude. The white always gets me, man. The white.
Yeah, I'll get you every
Wait, so
I
time.
know. The white
what's
will take you to heights you've never been to and lows you've never dreamed of.
where can I get this stuff? Is this something that we can discuss on here?
It's legal in North Carolina, so I can discuss it as much as I
Yeah.
want. Now that I've changed my
Illinois too.
name, now that I've changed my name to the Kratom Caniac on Twitter, I have been getting solicited almost daily by Indonesian men who send me pictures of large pallets of Kratom.
Man, I really thought that we were going a different direction.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they could offer other things if needed. Yeah, but the
No,
Kratom is what draws you in.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I will say that we're pretty much, because of the format of the show and what we all believe ideologically, we're not going to do any stupid ad reads for the show. But if you are a Kratom supplier, we may consider doing reads if you have and just Maurice being like, where do I get that Kratom? And we're like, well, let me tell you about
Also, I don't know, like some sort of disclaimer. Nate, speak for yourself because I'm broke. So if I need to wear a sign on my shirt, or AT&T,
Stamps.com.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I can be bought. My liberalism can be bought for sure.
You remember back in the day when like amateur boxing, like this was kind of like, and I think they kind of did this in MMA, but like it was kind of like I always remember it in like the real low level boxing, like when boxing had hit like it was really unpopular and like MMA really hadn't like come into the mainstream yet, but they would like paint like ads for like gambling, online gambling, and like things like stamps.com on their back. Like Gold Nugget was always one I remember, but they would like Sharpie it on their backs, like essentially.
Yeah.
Well, do they still do the shorts? Because I know that was a thing.
Yeah, they did the shorts, but like I remember one guy was really big, and they would just like Sharpie it on him. Like it would just be like
That's wild.
drawn on him.
Must have been
Didn't
white.
a few guys get tattoos?
I think a few guys
Did you guys get like
yeah.
Jesus
of like
Christ.
defunct gambling websites, like getting a huge ass tattoo website that folded in 2016.
That's like kind of vaporwave, like like the relic of advertising, living with echoing through eternity. Yeah.
That's poetic.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. It's something. So that's my bit of Anthony Fantano for you. I haven't watched a video on him to do his like I can't remember what his like go-to line is. That riff was a hard 6.3.
Southpaws forever. Yeah, I think he says something forever. Goodbye.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah. Anyways.
That's great. Well, hey, I'm repping the Negro Leagues today.
Oh yeah.
That's my advertisement. Yep.
I got my new Spurs jersey on. My Spurs kit. It's called a kit actually. It's a kit.
Oh,
It's great right now.
What?
EPL Spurs.
Yes, the EPL Spurs, not the Tim
Okay,
Duncan
okay.
Spurs. Man, that's what I should have got. I should have got a Tim Duncan, like, Tottenham Hotspurs jersey. That would have been like really. That would have been like really meta. That would have been a good
Boris
joke.
Diaw.
Yeah,
Boris
I
Diaw,
should have known you would have gone Diaw. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. That should be our thing. We try to mix the sports together. Is there? I don't. I
Mixed
can't.
medium.
You could do like a Tim Lincecum like New York Giants jersey.
What are other combinations?
I'm excited about the jersey.
I'll say them as I think of them.
I'm excited about the jersey I got coming.
Yeah.
It's I think.
Well, don't spoil it. You gotta unveil it when it comes.
Well, I wasn't gonna say that. I was just gonna give a little taste of it.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
I think it's a Tim Anderson quote.
It may be.
This is a very pro Tim Anderson podcast.
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes. This may or may not be it. But one of my favorite Tim Anderson quotes is when he said that baseball is fucking boring and he would never watch that shit.
That's great.
Tim Anderson is really trying for like the kind of like Charles Barkley quotes, like back when Charles Barkley would say shit like that, like be like, I'm not a fucking role model, like I hate basketball, blah blah blah. I don't know whatever else he said.
Except Tim Anderson is cool though. We do want to emphasize that this is a very anti-Charles Barkley podcast.
No Chuck.
I'm going to. I think I'm going to pull the trigger on a classic NBA jersey. I will say, I will say, chairman of the boards. Do we know who that is? Chairman of the boards.
That's I can't remember. I'll know as soon as you say it.
I'm trash.
First name, biblical figure.
Joseph.
Parted seas. Seas parting.
Oh, Moses
yeah,
Malone. Is that what
I'm going to go Moses Malone.
Yeah.
I'm going Moses Malone.
Are you going to wear it? Are you going to wear the basketball jersey? Or are you just going to hang it up? Like on a wall?
That's a very sly dig, but I'm going to wear it.
No, I'm saying that because I only have the one basketball jersey, which is my Illini jersey, because I'd feel kind of goofy wearing a basketball jersey to like work or whatever. Because I don't really like the t-shirt look because it kind of makes you look like a frat bro. But like,
well, you have to.
I'm also not gonna go like sleeveless like around mostly. I mean, I wear it sleeveless when I go to the game, but that's kind of more of like a performative thing.
You gotta embrace the frat bro look.
Yeah.
It's what's inside of you, and you can't just keep it dormant for life.
Okay.
You have the frat bro haircut. You have the haircut already.
Okay. I'm losing the connection. Losing. Southpaws. Okay.
I think Adam's ready to move on to the WNBA now.
Yeah, I need to virtue signal about how I actually am not a bro. First off, congrats to I said they were gonna win the championship this year, and they did. I should have put money on it.
They were the favorites.
Yeah, especially once Seattle went down with like basically their entire team was injured.
Yeah. But still, they did win it without. Delle Donne went down for significant portions of the series with injury.
Yeah. I mean, she definitely, and it sounds like she basically said like, "Oh yeah, this might fuck up the rest of my life, but I'm gonna do it." Like she was quoted saying something like that.
Yeah.
Like
it was her third finals, and she had not. I believe both the coach and her had a reputation of never being able to get over the hump.
Another right? Charles Barkley type situation.
Yeah, yes. And she did. It's very much like she almost had kind of a Dirk-ish career arc in that regard.
Well, she's still in her
Dirk
prime,
finally pushed over.
She's still in her prime.
She's about third. She's been around for a while.
She just had like probably the most incredible like basketball season for like the past like 40 years.
Well, I don't think that Dirk won his championship when he was out of his prime.
2011, right? Is when they won it.
3 good years of he's still still very good. Anyway, just saying, somebody who couldn't maybe I don't know, like how does she rank as far as all-time greats? Because LeBron also kind of had that thing too, where he like couldn't get over the hump for a long time.
But LeBron also like started much younger, you know. So, you know.
Didn't LeBron
came out of UConn?
What'd you say, Maurice?
What's that?
Oh, didn't LeBron get over the hump before like the age of 25?
Yeah, but he was started at 18.
Yeah. MJ didn't win a championship until like his.
Nobody ever talks about it, man.
5th year.
Yep. Until he's about 30. No.
Not 30.
Like his. No.
Oh yeah, I guess.
He came into the league in 83.
86.
And didn't win until. Are you sure? Because he won at 91, and I don't.
I guess you're right. You're right. Because I remember I was talking about the other day with a buddy that MJ started like playing when there was no 3-point line.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay, he came in 1984. So he won by his 7th year.
Yeah.
7th year. But the main point was that he was the way he lost too. They lost to the Pistons like over and over.
They lost to the Cavs. They lost. How do you lose to the Cavs?
Yeah.
That's not a real thing.
How do you lose to the Cavs?
I mean, this wasn't like good Cavs. This was doo-doo Cavs.
This is Craig Elo Cavs.
These were the cursed years. Very cursed. But yeah. So anyways, we're getting off topic. We're getting off topic. We're talking about men. We were trying to celebrate women. We were trying to show how I'm not a frat bro.
And like a typical frat bro, you took it there, man.
Yeah. So anyways, this kind of started was kind of sparked with what's his name? Max Kellerman? Is that the guy? Oh no, Tony Reale. Tony Reale was saying on Around the Horn that the WNBA players pull in, and this isn't, nobody really knows, which was part of them opting out last year, I guess. Nobody really knows the actual number of like what the WNBA's finances look like and whatnot. But it's suggested that it's anywhere, they're only receiving somewhere between like 20 to 25% of the league revenue, which is like, just for instance, most every other league makes at least like 45. Like I think Maurice and I were talking about before we came on that we weren't sure about baseball, because I want to say I remembered in an earlier episode like this year, like it had dropped down to like 42%, but
it's going down.
That might be I know it's in the 40s. So it's like, so basically as part of most leagues, especially leagues with salary caps, they've negotiated it to be about 50%, like shared, that all revenue has to go to the players. So it's just like absolutely bananas.
NBA is definitely around 50%.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's 51 actually. I think it's 51.
Yeah.
Which actually, like a little side note, something else I also interestingly read, I think in Deadspin today, that 5 NBA teams have like openly come out to say that they're like planning for the salary cap to go down because of this China stuff. Because it's like tied to league revenue, and so they're like, oh well, the salary, like the actual number for the salary cap will go down this year, and like so, they're already prepping. I believe it was Zyron. Actually, it was Zyron saying in The Nation. Zyron was saying that that like of course like the players are going to bear the brunt of like this mistake, whatever you want to call it, this action by ownership and management, and the players are going to be the ones who get fucked. So it's I can see that being real. I can also see that being something that that the executives are leaking to the press to maybe have it, never let a crisis go to waste, as Chicago's fearless mayor Emanuel once said. And I can see them being like, okay, maybe we can use this to squeeze a few free agents next year. Mm-hmm.
Scare them into taking longer contracts.
I mean, just like with the WNBA, like the WNBA's Players Association, the whole narrative around like their negotiations and what they're asking for is like it's being spun in some arenas as if they're like asking for too much money. As if they're saying like, hey, we want to make as much money as these other leagues are making, when in reality they're really just going for like the percentage. They want to even out the ratio, Yeah. But they're spinning it that way too, as a way to trump, their progress.
And the point is that like so many of these players, I'm not exactly sure if this is still the case, but I feel like it is. I mean, I know at least 2 or 3 years ago, WNBA players would play a season and then have to go play in China or Russia for a second season because they paid.
Well, that's literally why they're not having a parade,
Yeah.
because nobody's going to be there. They're all going back overseas.
Wild.
Oh.
Wild.
So yeah, so there's that. But yeah, so basically, I think we mentioned it that like when this happened last year, but the WNBA Players Association opted out of their CBA last year, which I'm not entirely sure what that means. Because I'm not a labor lawyer. We should at some point maybe interview a labor lawyer about how these things work.
I've got connections.
Yeah. Just we should learn how what a CBA really is. But anyways, they opted out last year, and I guess it's essentially due to expire at the end of this month. And they're kind of saying what I could find on ESPN, it's kind of not really been covered great, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Not like, like I remember with the last like NFL lockout where it was just like fucking like out like second by second updates. Like, we saw Jerry Jones walk out of this room, like, and he looks angry. I think he took 14 minutes to shit. He did eat a salad for lunch, so that is irregular. Maybe a little bit of liquid intake.
Dan Snyder has procured and cut open a goat to read its entrails, and we'll decide whether they end the lockout by the entrails, what they say.
Yeah. Jed York has crawled out of his bunk bed and hit his head because he was sleeping on the lower bunk, and he's a dumb man. Was the joke there?
Roger Goodell has consulted the oracles of Delphi to decide. I'm really pounding these ancient Greece, and it's not.
I know you're really doing like some mysticism stuff. Yeah. Anyways.
Yes, these references work. Okay.
Anyways.
Big effort.
Yeah. So it was a good point. Is the head of the union is saying that a lot of people are trying to make it sound like the WNBA players are like saying like, well, why don't we get paid as much as LeBron, which is what nobody is saying. Nobody. And but what they are asking is that like a bunch of like 6'6" women don't have to fly and coach anymore on a back-to-back. Or whatever. I don't think the WNBA plays like back. No, actually, that was an issue last year. Was because the Las Vegas got stuck on either back to back or like a day of rest, and they got stuck in the airport and they had to cancel a game. What were you saying, Maurice?
I mean, it's just because when we talk about labor issues with sports, we still acknowledge that even in MLB, who's got a pretty strong players union, ideally they would still be making a way greater percentage of the revenues, and they're already at 40-50% as it stands. And I kind of just want to put it in perspective. If you guys could do it as well, like 20% of the revenues for the players to be making that in the WNBA it's putrid.
Oh yeah, it's outrageous.
Yeah.
It's outrageous, especially when they're playing essentially year round, which dilutes the product. Like you're basically saying like, we don't think having the premier women's league in the world is important to us in the same way that it is the men's game. But yeah, so
and it's like they're not putting in the efforts to make the league seem like a big deal. Mm-hmm. And then it's like it's like a full circle kind of thing. And so the league isn't really doing what it needs to do to make the league seem like a big deal, and then the league itself uses the fact that it feels it's not a big deal as a way to tell the woman that they're not worth as much, and it just goes around and around like that.
Yeah. It is. I mean,
I think there's.
What are you saying?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was just gonna move it forward. So if you have something to say.
Well, I just think that there's a perception that I don't know exactly, but I would bet you that WNBA is in a much healthier financial position now than it was 10, 15 years ago. And I just think that they're using a specter of financial precariousness that doesn't necessarily exist. I see a lot of similarities with a big current strike that's happening right now with the GE strike, and the fact that even more than reality is like perception of how these things are, and like GE is like printing money, but because of the specter of the 2009 crash, they're able to go like, oh well, we can't pay you, we can't give you any raises or pay you, we can't give you decent health care because like what if 2009 happens again? Or they're like, WNBA is like, we can't pay you 50% because like we were really struggling back in 2002. It's
Right.
like it's a different world.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's where public pressure has really failed, because the public has not come to this realization that it's a different world and a different league, and if we did, we would demand different things of the WNBA. But they're using
What do you mean? It's a different world, and we should demand or expect different things.
Well, I think that everyone kind of understood in the late 90s and early 2000s that the WNBA, the first 10 years of its history were teams launching and then folding, new teams launching, and it was very much like this precarious situation.
There was another competing women's league,
isn't.
and then that one failed. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
they really so it's kind of similar to like what you've been seeing with like the Women's World Cup, like the past two Women's World Cups, where like they're really trying, and especially this last one, where they're really trying to take like the momentum of people like getting enthusiastic about it to like get people interested in like the actual like women's club league that we have here in the U.S. And it was kind of similar with like the 96, like Cheryl Swoops and Rebecca Lobo and all that. Like really trying to push that. And what's really ironic too is I kind of feel like it's weird when I was a kid. I feel like remember SI for Kids, the Sports Illustrated for Kids? That's now Maven right-wing propaganda for sports-inclined youths. No, it was just throwback to last week.
That's good.
I remember them really pushing like things like that in like the former women's soccer league. I can't remember what it was. And I feel like now like all the kids who like grew up with that kind of stuff like got to become adults, and they're like, well, where the hell is the product that like like we just kind of grew up like having this like push, and then like while they were like doing that, like they were building like a generation of kids to expect that. And then it's like, oh yeah, but like no, that was just all like, it's like, what was it for? It's just like, seems like for show. Right. Like, was it just to make yourself feel better? And that's a lot of what it feels like with the NBA. Is like they're just like, oh yeah, we give the WNBA money. Like we don't support it in any meaningful sense. Like we don't treat it seriously. But like we give them, we treat them as a charity case. So like we're good people.
Well, what do you want from us?
Like honestly, the players themselves do a better job of supporting them than like the actual league does, and like fixing their fucking crappy streaming app. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a real way that you can support the WNBA.
What was up with the streaming app?
It's just really bad. It's just it just doesn't, it's old, doesn't really work very well. Like, I don't know if
you know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
Well, I was going to say, it reminds me of the differences between Tinder and Soul Swipe. You guys know what Soul Swipe is?
No.
I have an idea.
I mean, I can take a guess, for sure.
Yeah, Soul Swipe is basically the black Tinder, and like, what was it? When did Adam force me to get on Tinder? Was it 4 years ago?
I never did that. Strike that.
100% did. About 4 years ago, when I first got on Tinder, like Tinder was like a cool app, and then I found Soul Swipe because there's like not enough black people on Tinder. And then it's like, just like within like months, like Tinder continues to progress, and then Soul Swipe just like is just so stagnant, and the app was just so shitty, and now it's like completely unusable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I just want to I thought about this, and like I want to give a real life example of what I'm talking about with like being a different world, and like people and the fans and should be able to push for something better. Amy and I, we live in DC, and we were like really excited that the Mystics made it to the finals. We wanted to go, right? And we were like, Game 5 rolled around, and we were so excited. We're like, we want to go to Game 5, and we want to go see this thing happen. And like, I will admit that part of me on the day of the game looked it up, and I was like, oh, we should be able to go to this game.
Well, to be fair, last year it was like $20 when we tried to go. Remember, because we did try to go to the finals.
But this year I was like, let's go to the game. Yeah. And I thought it's the WNBA. How expensive can it be? Tickets were $140 each to the game. So it's like this idea of like it is a new world. Like people want, this is a product that people want, obviously, but I think that the public kind of fails a little bit in like not embracing it as a thing that is now established, and they should not be treated as a charity case anymore. It's a real fucking league, basically.
Yes. No, it is. I mean, and like the thing is it's like such an easy thing to sell to basketball fans. Because think about basketball fans. Those like every hardcore basketball fan pretty much only watches basketball. Right? Like the people who like read basketball blogs and like live the NBA, like that's all they watch in terms of sports. They might watch like soccer usually. And so if you're just like, hey, like there's fucking summer basketball, like it works so perfectly for the basketball market. And the NBA just doesn't sell it like that. They're just like, oh, well, we have the summer league. Like watch that instead. So,
and I'll also say, I mean, and from just a product standpoint, I went to, my mom was very early. That is a loud keyboard. My
I use a mechanical keyboard.
My mom was like really early adopter of WNBA, and we went to a Cleveland Rockers game in like 1998, 1997. And I can tell you, I'll just say this as politely as I can. I watched the WNBA Finals in 2019 and the Cleveland Rockers game in 1998. The product is way fucking better. It's like really good basketball being played. Like maybe there was an argument in the late 90s when it just started of like, oh, this is not a real thing. It's kind of a charity case, whatever. But like it's real professionals, and also big respect to all the pioneers who started the league in the late 90s. Like that's incredible. But there's a generation of girls now that have grown up, and their goal is to make the WNBA, and they treat it the same way that a player trying to make the NBA would. And the product has improved greatly, and it's really fucking good basketball.
Yeah. Well, and also it's like too. I mean, like part of the reason why we watch sports, and like part of the reason why I'm a wrestling fan is because just like I love drama. I like drama. I like to see stories being told like on the field. I like narratives. And the WNBA like offers all of that. They offer like massive intensity from the players. Like it's like these, and like I feel like that's the selling.
Great personalities in the WNBA. Great personalities.
Exactly, and that's exactly why Tim Anderson of the Chicago White Sox was saying that the MLB sucks and why it's boring, because they don't emphasize that kind of stuff either. But if the WNBA, the NBA certainly does, and the WNBA could definitely play off of that as well.
Yeah. Well, kind of moving a little further too, and just kind of like the institutional rot of this whole thing is one thing I thought was very interesting. So, Christy Tolliver on the Washington Mystics, she's shooting guard, point guard. She's a guard. She fucking rules. She's awesome. She's a great shooter, really fun. Been in the league a while. She's got she's just a real fiery player. She's awesome. She's fun to watch. She also, as you may know, is an assistant coach on the Washington Wizards. Bradley Beal wrote a cool article about about the Mystics in general because he's like a big fan. I guess his mom, like Nate's mom, like was an early adapter to the WNBA and like always made them like watch and go, and so he wrote this really cool like literal player by player breakdown. And he also showed up with John Wall to one of the finals games wearing the EDD mask, like the Rip Hamilton face mask, like they both were wearing them. It was really cool. Very cool. Yeah, he's been at the games like for years. I mean, he's been a huge supporter. Anyways,
Bradley Beal is a treasure.
Yes, Bradley Beal is a cool guy. But he kind of why I brought it up is because he brings up Christy Tolliver being a coach, and he's like, oh, like I know her and blah blah blah, and she's great. And then I kind of did some digging, and it turns out that Christy Tolliver only gets paid like $12,000 a year to be an assistant coach on the Wizards, which is like a fifth of what most assistant coaches make, I guess, in the NBA. And they also pay her out of this like kind of like general fund that the WNBA like allocates each team like $50,000 to like use for like extras, whether it's like paying players to do extra things, like paying for like what some people call extravagances, but I think it's like they can use it to pay for like charter flights and shit.
The WNBA allocates this money to WNBA teams.
Yeah, so they kind of use it. They use it so like if you have like a generational talent, you can maybe give them like a little extra money to like not have to go wreck their body overseas one year. Like I think they paid Brianna Stewart out of it, like because she gave up her contract. I think like because she got injured like in the finals of her overseas game in Australia, and I think she forfeited her salary and I think got paid out of that same fund like that the Storm got. And and so Christy Tolliver is not only like being underpaid to do this job, she's being paid by the same team that the Wizards own the Mystics. So they're just like taking this money that they could have spent like on a player or like 4 players, and they're just using it to like underpay like one of their coaching staff. Like under the guise that they're like, oh well, look how cool and woke we are. We bring in fucking Christy Tolliver to coach the team.
Right.
And it's just like it's kind of a scam.
So it's a huge scam. So go ahead, Nate.
Well, I was gonna say I just googled it. I mean, she is listed as a assistant coach. Like there are like 6 people listed as assistant coaches, and she's one of the 6. So I don't know what to say other than like that's brutal and capitalism sucks.
Oh no, she's like literally like I mean Bradley Beal in the article like talks about how much film she watches with them and like breaks down for them. Like I mean it's not like a ceremonial post. Like she is a fucking assistant coach on the Wizards.
Yeah.
So.
And you wonder like what could she get paid more somewhere else? Like could she go? Is that the general league consensus? Because if she's really highly valued as a coach, just like fucking leave. But I don't. But maybe it's the same way everywhere. Maybe they're all going to treat it the same way.
Well, I'm sure that part of the rationale is like, oh, well, you play basketball 3 months out of the season. Like, we can't pay you as much. It's like, so it's like, it's probably just total nonsense. So, I mean, I'm positive it's total nonsense. I mean, it's the fucking Wizards. Like, their entire franchise is nonsense.
Let's put it this way. Let's put it this way: if it was the other way around, and the Mystics were the ones that had all the money, they would not be paying Bradley Beal $12,500 a year for that job.
Yeah. Oh no,
wouldn't matter. Would not matter if he was playing with the Wizards. Would not fucking matter.
Oh wait, I just found it. I actually want to. I want to to change what I just said, it's not a fifth. It's actually a tenth of what of what an NBA assistant coach usually makes. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Well, in that case, what if I just change my opinion based on no?
George, even more egregious.
Yeah. That's brutal.
What's your eating there?
Yeah. So it sounds like I guess what were we saying?
I mean, what's the rationale? I mean, because the seasons don't overlap. That's what I'm confused about. It's not like, is the assistant coach doing a ton of work in the, I guess, drawing up plays and stuff in the off season?
We all know what the rationale is. It's a fucking woman and they can do it. Like,
right.
That's literally what the rationale is.
Though,
that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I mean, that's what they're doing. That's the reason they're doing it. But ostensibly, though, usually you do have to have some sort of bullshit excuse to give. And I mean, it's probably the same thing the reason why women in other professions also make like way less money. And they probably use the same rationale of ability, time that you have to allocate towards the profession, and in this case also that she plays like professionally with the WNBA too.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing though, is that like I think the three of us are pretty much more well informed than most other sports fans when it comes to like pay scales and what people are paid and like how the labor stuff's working. Other than like labor lawyers, we're on the hip, and we didn't know about this until this week. So I think that's what I'm kind of talking about as far as like apathy of sports fans being a big reason that this is happening, is because like
yes.
we still view women's basketball as a minor league sport. And
right.
until the public perception of that changes, then there won't be pressure on these people. There won't be fire under their asses to do anything about it. So it's
so what you're saying, as Southpaws, as the ultimate sports authority of moral consciousness in the sports world, that we need to be doing a better job of highlighting the WNBA. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I believe if you're cool, you call it the W or the dub. I don't know if they say the dub. That sounds.
So if you don't even know, then you just.
Well, I just know they call it the W, but I've only ever read it, so I don't know. I'm gonna call it the dub. That's what I'm gonna start calling it. Like you watch that dub game. Like it sounds cool.
But you know,
wouldn't it be more normalizing to just say game?
I guess. I don't know. I usually preface what game. I don't just like. I'm not like such a scrub.
At that point, walking up to a stranger and going, "Did you watch the game?" It's like that's.
Hey, you see that game last night? Yeah, it's pretty. You know.
That's exactly what people say though. Like if there was like a big game, like yo man, you see the game last night? That's exactly what they say.
That's true. Yeah.
You guys are just
maybe
we're not there yet. And you know it.
And also, Billman, I think your heart's in the right place, except that the Dubs are literally what you call the Warriors. You just gotta confuse people.
That's because they're the W's too. There can be lots of Dubs. There's lots of Dubs.
That's fair.
Yeah. I guess
there's enough dub love.
One thing I kind of want to end it with, I want to center the men in this story, because like us.
About time.
Yeah.
About time.
No. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I do always feel bad, because it's kind of like I know a lot of people like are rightfully kind of upset. Like a lot of women's WNBA writers are kind of upset that like Shea Serrano can just like be like, oh, this is like the most important thing I've ever seen in my life. Like this is better than the second Matrix movie for me. Like whenever he writes about the WNBA, and like people are just like, oh, now I can pay attention to it now that Shea Serrano is talking about it. And it's like, but like I mean I think it is kind of important to have like people who are respected athletes to like, you know, like what Bradley Beal did was I think, very good and part of like normalizing the league. Like whether that makes you happy or not, like I mean, I think you have to admit that that's like a net benefit to making it like regular. But no, I was gonna say
the next step.
Yep.
The next step. Can I just say I just want to say I don't. I mean, I think that's great, and I think the next step for Shea Serrano would be like, if he got all these people jazzed up about the WNBA, he should be like about the W, the Dubs,
about the dub.
About the dub. He should say, fantastic. If you're as jazzed up about the dub as I am, here's 10 female journalists who are sports writers who have been covering the dub for years, and they're fantastic. So if you're as fired up as I am, go read them.
Yeah.
Like that would be chill. That would be good. That'd be a good use of that thing.
Without getting too much into Shea Serrano, I think that's exactly the issue with him, is that he just like inserts himself into shit and it shamelessly will make money off of it. But it's not here nor there. I think Shea Serrano, for what it's worth, seems like a nice guy, and he's helped people that I know proofread their journalism stories and shit and given advice. So I don't want to shit on him too much, but he does write for The Ringer, and The Ringer fucking blows. So, like, I mean, anyways.
What?
The land of contrast.
Well, The Ringer is just lame. It's just normie bullshit. Like, is really what it amounts to being. Like, Shea Serrano's books are all like, what about if fucking Neo had a post game? Like, that's like every story he ever writes. It's just lame. Anyways, I kind of want to end it with. I thought this was really interesting. It's a quote from Jalen Rose, who's kind of an outspoken guy. Would you not say? It's kind of been his brand since since Michigan. Yeah, no, I like him. But he says, what does he say? He says, he actually starts with, so I was very outspoken as a player. And I think that is one of the reasons I'm able to do this job. He's talking about his podcast, blah, blah, blah. Like he basically says, like the NCAA and how they treat their players, this is a version of that to me. He's talking about the travel situation and the difference between the Pacers and the Fever, which is the Indiana WNBA team. It disgustes me so very much in embracing for everyone involved. It is one thing for the players to endure this. It is another thing for the owners of teams to be a league that allows this to happen. They don't play all year. They play in the summer. That is when the NBA is not playing. It's a subsidiary of the NBA. And I look at people that say if you look at their stands, they're not selling out. That is not the point. If you build it, they will come. If you treat the product like that, it doesn't make it attractive to the average fan. It is embracing the product, and I hope they have what it takes to strike. So he's saying that the WNBA should put their foot down on it and strike and say we're not coming anymore. That's great. And I don't know what would happen, honestly. I think it's one thing for like Jalen Rose to say like they should strike, because I don't think he's in a comfortable position, and he's always been one as a player, other than when he was at Michigan. And he did. I mean, he paid a price for what he did at Michigan, and for what it's worth, I think he always has said I didn't do anything wrong, and I think he's definitely. So he was part of the Fab Five, and they took money from not even really a Michigan booster. It was just like a guy he knew from high school in Chicago that basically was just like, yeah, I'm gonna take care of you guys because you guys, you guys might be able to pay it back to me someday. It's just kind of like a weird uncle situation, like a weird neighborhood uncle. Yeah, no, it was like totally fine. It wasn't even really that much money, like honestly. And I mean, I think that he definitely was a big part of like driving this conversation that now we're at like 30 years after he played. So, I mean, I just don't know. I mean, what do you think? Do you think before we head into intermission, do you think? Do you think that that's that could happen? I don't know if the WNBA has the bargain power yet to do that.
The strike.
You don't think that they have like the support that's necessary in order to take that risk, or you don't think that the players have the actual literal power to say, hey, we need this, and if you don't give it to us, we're gonna
I think
bounce.
that if the WNBA went on strike, the NBA, and this is interesting because I feel like it kind of gets into the China thing that we talked about last week. It's like if the WNBA just said we're not gonna fucking show up anymore, if the NBA would be tempted to just say like, all right, fuck yeah, like we're not having there's no more WNBA, or we'll find there's other people, we can find other people to play or whatever, and I don't know if they have enough like bargaining power right now to like that the NBA would suffer a real consequence for that.
Well, I mean, but there's still people in WNBA, not players, who are making a shit ton of money off of them. So it would affect them, and I feel like they'd be like, whoa, wait a minute, you know?
I think where the power is that it would damage the NBA's brand as the woke league. Like I think that's why I think it's an interesting parallel to the China thing. Is like the WNBA or the NBA really got caught with egg on their face because they're the woke league, and that's part of their brand.
And what do all these things have in common? That this assistant coach is being paid almost nothing. The players are being paid almost nothing. The NBA could potentially say fuck off and whatever, because the point is that what the people who be fighting against the strike will be thinking is no one will give a shit, no one will care, and so it is up to us and frankly NBA players and the journal and the sports press in general to make sure that people give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it'll take. And I think that it's really up in the air. I don't know. I think that I just think that it's unsustainable, the business model they have now. It is just completely, I would say, inhumane to ask them to play in the way they're playing now. And do I think it'll be successful? I don't know, but I think you have to strongly consider it, because it's just, how can you ask these people to play like 2 leagues all year, every year?
Yeah.
The alternative, what's the alternative? Is the example.
Yeah.
The answer.
I think my last thought is it's kind of interesting. You mentioned inhumane, that like, I don't know if you guys saw that article on ESPN today where they interviewed, like, Tobias Harris was like a main character in the story, I guess you could say, but about sleep and about getting rest, and like how NBA players don't sleep or have enough time to recover, and how it's kind of like the dirty secret of the NBA right now. And I think it's very interesting that you have like the NBA players are at that point where, and not to say that like saying you can't get like a full 7 hours of sleep every night when you're a professional athlete is like not in its own way like dehumanizing and destructive to the product or destructive to the people playing. But like it is.
No,
like,
I need 8. I need 8. 7.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I need 8.
I know, yeah, for sure. And and it is just really wild when like the WNBA is like right now they're like arguing for like basic things like getting the same mental health package that the NBA gets, and like not flying coach for the same back-to-backs, like, so not even just not sleeping, but like, I mean, we've all flown coach. Flying fucking sucks. Can you imagine if you were, I mean, I'm sure we have very tall listeners. I mean, Nate's fairly tall, and I'm even only 6 feet, and my legs are cramped. What did you just do? My legs are cramped as hell. So yeah, I mean, it's like if you want to have like this like professional level product, like, I mean, like, not to like neoliberalize the whole thing, but it's like you have to at least keep care of like the means of production. Like, I mean, you have to like maintain your product. Like, not to dehumanize in my own way, but I mean, you know, like, like to meet them in the middle, I guess.
Think it back to the GE strike. I mean, like, you know, they went on strike because GE cut their health insurance, and these are very working class people that need it. So it's like the question is like, should they go on strike because will it work is like not the right question. It's like, will it work? Who knows? But they can't afford not to.
Yeah.
Like, can the WNBA? How many years can these WNBA players? How many generations of talent and players and people have to go through this? And what's the alternative to just lying down and taking it? You know what I mean? Like, but who knows if it'll be successful?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're gonna hit the intermission. We got a fun article about Larry Bird that we're gonna do. We have some calls.
Very fun.
We have some tweets. So enjoy. We had a special song made for us this week. It's an original. I'm debuting it. It is by Priestoid. Our friend Steals Valor on Twitter. Julie, she made us this awesome track. And I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And we'll see you guys in like 3 minutes. So enjoy the music. Okay, we are back. We're back. I hope you enjoy the track.
Hello.
Again, that was our friend Julie with Priesthoid. I believe that's priesthoid.bandcamp.com. Which I will post in the liner notes. I thought the track was pretty awesome. Some shoegaze, Hawk Harrelson, rock. Hawkwave.
Aquawave.
Hawkwave. Yeah. So part 2 of the episode. Part 2. We have an interview with Larry Bird and the Undefeated, which was that started by what's his face?
Whitlock.
Ian Thomas.
Whitlock.
Oh, Whitlock. Wait, Whitlock.
I think it was Whitlock.
Which Whitlock?
So what?
Jason Whitlock.
What the?
Jason Whitlock. Isn't he like a chud?
Definitely.
Oh, I don't.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's not. Yeah, you are absolutely wrong.
You get the Undefeated.
What?
Jason Whitlock. I'm almost sure.
No, Jason Whitlock
started
is
the
like
Undefeated.
he's like a Trump dude. No, it's like Eaton Thomas like works with it. Oh, Jason Whitlock.
His
Oh,
new-
other Jason Whitlock. Okay, not that one. Not that one. I was thinking isn't Jason Whitlock a chud?
Yes.
You're
Yes.
thinking
Oh,
the Cowboys guy. You're thinking the Cowboys
I think so.
tight end.
No.
No,
You think-
they're two different guys. Then yeah, they're two different
Yeah,
guys.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Man, that was really confusing.
We're on the right track now, boys.
Okay. All right, so they interviewed Larry Bird because Larry Bird was kind of he's part of the NBA's initiative in India. I think they had some games there. Indiana Pacers and Sacramento Kings traveled to India to play 2 preseason games. Larry Bird is still a consultant for the Pacers, I guess. So he went over there. People went crazy for him, and this guy Mark Spears gave a very awkward interview with Larry where I don't know, what was your favorite part before I get into it? Like, what was your general vibe you got from it? Like, what do you think the guy was trying to do? Like, what do you think his intentions were? Because basically every question is like, so Larry, like, you're a white guy that played a black sport. Like, what's up with that?
Yes. How those Negroes teach you? Huh? How they treat you over there? That's exactly That's like, the whole thing just gave me. Go ahead, Nate. Go ahead.
Was it kind of a Legend of Bagger Vance type situation, Larry? Did that kind of happen?
Right.
Was
Was it more like a shining, like a black man identified like a special gift you had inside and nurtured it.
But then
He was killed with a hatchet later after that.
The vibe that the interview gave me was this black dude who is, man, dude, this is. I really try to watch my audiences when I say shit like this, but hopefully future friend of the pod, Mark Lamont Hill, has one of my favorite quotes of all time. He said, "Nobody loves white people like black people do," and that speaks to like white supremacy and the way that implicit bias and structures ingrain literal anti-blackness into our brains literally from the time that we're born. And not only that, but also ingrain this idea of like white is better, which is like very, very implicit to a lot of different of our cultures. But that was the idea that I got from like hearing him speak on this, or hearing the interview or like ask these questions, was like he wanted to really exalt and point out like, Larry Bird, even though you're a white man in this black sport, like you really triumphed and you really overcame all these big bad evil black dudes. Like, go you. That was what I got from it.
Yes, it was kind of interesting because it was like kind of from like it felt like, I mean, because Larry Bird is obviously like the love of all like racist cop dads in America that like think that the NBA sucks now. And it kind of like had the same. It was like kind of like the guy was trying to be like, well, black people respect Larry Bird too. Like, you know, like it's like we respect his game, but it still had that weird like you have to racialize Larry Bird like vibe to it.
Well, but I think that the issue though is not just racializing Larry Bird, but also more so racializing and very specifically coloring the context in which Larry Bird succeeded as black. You know, like I remember like he was talking about how he said Larry Bird, and this isn't a direct quote, but he asked some sort of question. Larry Bird was saying that he played street ball or something like that.
Yes.
And the interviewer was like, well, how did they treat you? Did they treat you well? You know, as if these big black dudes were just like they're just so malicious and so animalistic.
Did they give you a hood pass, Larry?
Right.
I used to play pickup, and Adam can attest to this, basically every day for about 2 or 3 years in Champaign-Urbana. And oftentimes I'd be the only white guy on the court. And the only thing anyone gives a fuck about is whether you can get a rebound. That's pretty much it. Like, if you can't fucking hang, then leave. But if you can, who gives a fuck? I mean, and my nickname was Big Country, which is awesome.
It was pretty good.
Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
They called me Big Country.
I saw it. They'd walk out and they just seemed like, yo, Big Country, Big Country.
Yeah, that's true.
I was like, what the fuck is going on? I never got a nickname. Nate did, though. But, yeah.
Did you earn it?
Maybe
if you had taught the big bad black dudes a lesson, they would have given you.
if I showed them the power of fundamentals, the fundamental basketball.
Yeah. There you go.
I couldn't score. I could never score, but I could box out, and I could muscle people, and I could rebound, and that was enough. I was allowed to play. I could play.
Yeah.
Well, that was kind of like the issue of like the article for me is like Larry Bird is obviously like this legendary player. Like you can really talk about, like, there's so much to talk about without like expressing, man, them black folks are real evil, man. I hope they didn't hurt you too bad out there. And also like
It did
so
sound like
part
that.
You know what? I gotta say. I just want to say one thing. To me, before we get too far afield, the funniest thing for me is that they're like, "Did they hurt you too much, Larry? Like, how do they treat you?"
Which,
And
like, Larry Bird's like the meanest dude on earth. Like,
yeah, exactly. And you're talking to Larry Bird, and if you're Larry Bird, you're thinking to yourself, "I was the best one." Like,
Yeah,
I'm Larry
no.
Bird. Like, when I played street ball, I kicked all of their asses.
he does kind of hint at it. He does kind of hint. He does kind of say, like, well, I mean, I was a fucking NBA player. Like, these were, like, line cooks. Like,
Well, yeah, I won. That's what I did. I won.
And the thing is, because when like articles like these, I feel like because that is the truth, right? Larry Bird, like, regardless of what basketball court he stepped on the streets, like, he's gonna dominate. But I feel like articles like this make it seem like they like, it's like, oh man, that's so amazing of you as a white person to go out there and dominate these black folks. And it's like, well, if you talk to any NBA player, even dudes sitting on the bench, they all have like the same story of, I was the best one on my high school team. I dominated street ball, right? Like, that's because that's what you are when you're a professional like that.
yeah.
My favorite genre, one of my favorite genres of YouTube videos are watching NBA bench, like former NBA bench players play at YMCA's and just light people up. Just a guy who just played like 5 years, never averaged more than 5 minutes a game, and just absolutely destroying people.
Oh yeah. Do you
Those
guys
are my
have
favorite videos to watch?
Do you guys have the story open right now? Do you have it open? Do you remember the picture? I'm gonna put it on the screen. What's really funny is they ask him, they're like really prying, like about like, oh, what was it like to be white? They bring up like the Isaiah Thomas and Dennis Rodman quote about like he's good, you know, when Dennis Rodman said like, oh, he's good for a white guy or whatever, and like Larry's like really just being like, I mean, I really, you know, it doesn't really bother me. Like, I dealt with it, and like, And like, but then he even goes so far. It's like it almost seems like it's a really weird quote, but like it's almost like he's just so sick of dealing with these questions that he literally says, "The black man is the better athlete. So to overcome that, you've got to be special." Then right after the quote, they put this picture up. It's like right below it is like every white player in the NBA. Like just like balling out. One of them is in a Sharks jersey, so it's in this. I think it's Jimmer. It's Jimmer Fredette in this Sharks jersey.
Well, it's all here's where the race science breaks down, because those are all the white American players, but this has never been a better time to be a white Eastern European NBA player. There's fucking tons of them. There's one on every team.
Right. It's well, also too, that quote in itself, that's calling black men or black people saying that they're the better athlete. I see. This is why I kind of like, y'all know I don't like giving white people passes for shit, right? You don't deserve them, truly. But at the same time, like, given the context of this interview, I really just felt like Larry Bird had just been fed so much bullshit by this interviewer that I kind of agree. I don't know. I feel like he just kind of went back to the crevices of his brain where like those things that are like just lay dormant for like 30 years, you like pull it out of your ass because you're like on the spot. Yeah. You're like spitting shit out. That's kind of like what I feel like that was. But I do think that in general, like, I guess for me, like the issues like with this article, it's like it very much played off of like these benevolently racist stereotypes of black people. And you saw from the interviewer, you saw from Larry Bird, but that quote of that said that black people were better athletes. I mean, that's just it's something that is so. I heard it all the time growing up. Literally, I gotta tell a story. Like when I was in 7th grade, I have played basketball like 5 times in my life. I cannot dribble, I can't shoot, I can block. That's it. I can't do shit though on the court. Mm-hmm. I got picked to be the captain of my basketball team in gym class. Literally, there's like other white kids in my class who were like on the basketball team who did not get picked to be captain. The gym teacher chose literally because I'm black and like I'm like not small, and like that's just and it's such a dehumanizing thing to say that black people are like just natural born athletes, because it never is associated with intelligence. It's never associated with like actually being human beings. It's really just associated with like being able to work your body like an animal and allowing other people to treat you as such. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, before we get off this one, I did want to just say, there was an interesting thing that he does say. He talks about the famous 3-point contest where he says, when Larry Bird like apparently walked in the locker room and said who's coming in second, as famous Larry Bird trash talking, as a man who did a lot of famous trash talking. He says the 3-point line was never a problem. It's just back then I never practiced it until we had the 3-point contest. I figured I could pick up a quick $10,000 by shooting a basketball on a Saturday afternoon. Why not spend a half hour shooting threes? So he said he just practiced it before and just won. Like he was just like, yeah, so it was like the real Larry did come out in like that one part, which I thought was really, and he does he talks about later they get into the kind of just talking about like good players now, and he has some good quotes, but it was just incredibly straight. It was the most awkwardly way to like word like a Larry, what is it like being white? like
it was a bad quote from Larry there, and I think because it was a terrible interview and he was trying to get it over with. But the long arc of his life and career, I think, speaks to Larry being good and chill, and we like Larry Bird. I think we like Larry Bird. We like Larry Bird.
Here, wait, if I could, say what you're saying, then I'm gonna bring up this picture.
Well, also I just want to acknowledge that it's like whiteness still sucks. So like being like a good white person, or good white as I like to call it, one of the good whites. Yes. It's like, well, like you're good, but you're still white, which sucks.
Yeah. I also want to point out that picture of the white basketball players is literally I just pulled it off of ESPN's website, and the actual file name that they saved it under was NBA White. Like, that's literally what someone at ESPN named it. And as a programmer, I definitely know that's probably what I would have named it. Like, but like, it is funny. Okay, well, here, before we move on, I have to put this for who have not seen it. It is Larry Bird and Bill Walton, and I think Larry Bird's wife, maybe, at the home of Eugene V. Debs, visiting, learning about socialism, possibly starting the revolution. So, shout out to those guys. Great. Better than Kevin McHale, who is a MAGA chud, and fuck him. Okay, now we moving on to the fun part of the show. You guys have your tweets loaded up, right?
Oh yeah, baby.
Okay. First one I want to start with is we have David P. Sampson with unreal that Daniel Hudson, the Nationals closer, is on paternity list and missing game 1 of the NLCS. Only excuse would be a problem with the birth or health of baby or mother. If all is well, he needs to go to St. Louis. Inexcusable. Will it matter? # wait to see.
The drama.
So, like, first off, like, what? Does he think, like, that Daniel Hudson should have gone to the game? That's not where his wife lives. I think he's in Arizona, is where he is right now. Like,
yeah.
And he should have been sitting in the bullpen. The phone rings. Is it a call to the mound? Or is it your wife is dead? And he gets on a flight. Like what does this guy think? Like, what a fucking psycho.
I think though that the man deserves a little bit of credit though, for being a more of a general piece of shit as opposed to a sexist, misogynist piece of shit. Because the whole you chose your family over the game, that's usually or over your profession, that's usually reserved to attack women. And he used it here to attack a man. Yeah. So I think that deserves some credit.
Very good. I think we should look. I guarantee you, here's my opinion, that whoever did that tweet, whatever that guy's name is, look him up and see if he had a minor league baseball career. Because that really smacks to me like somebody who's angry, and the reason for their anger is like, I made AA ball, and if you just gave me a fucking shot at the big league, I would have killed my own father. I would have killed my dad to be in the major leagues. I would have run over my mom.
I don't know his career, but he did try to walk back the tweet and say like, oh, I didn't mean that. Like he should have actually done it or some shit like that. Like, and yeah, whatever. He got fucking.
He just has
He got racist.
He has that I have this close. I was this close energy. I was this close.
Yeah. Okay. Next one we have Pope Francis. Pope Francis says, "Today we give thanks to the Lord for our #saints, which is our new saints. Our new #saints. Which #saints is the official saints hashtag, so it includes the little fleur-de-lis logo. They walked by faith, and now we invoke their intercession." Pope Francis may be telling us that take the Saints money line, I think is what he's saying there.
Saying I endorse all Drew Brees endorsements, all Drew Brees commercials by Herbalife.
Do we think he got paid for this? Is that?
No, he just the guy who ran it just didn't know that was the official ad. To his credit, though, they did not delete it. Who Dat Nation loved it. Maybe we can get. I just wish we got a follow up, maybe from the Pope, or the Pope had kind of like laughed it off and done a Who Dat, like maybe recorded a Who Dat. Yeah. So. It was very funny intersection. So now we have the
very good.
Now we have the mystery one. Now we have the unravel. I hope you guys are prepped. I hope you've looked at the evidence. We have from Cooper Lund. Help settle a debate that is tearing my group text apart Is this a photo featuring Alex Bregman's dick and a ball, or a photo of his two balls? There are some diagrams drawn, and Alex Bregman is wearing some sort of like cycling pants, or like whatever athletes wear. I don't know, that weird, really tight lycra shit. It appears that there are two lumpy things, and there are a couple drawings of what if it could be a dick and the balls outlined, or the balls and the tip of the dick. What do you guys think? What do you guys think here?
Listen, I'm gonna say up front, I have to bow out of this conversation. I don't even watch white porn. I don't engage with anything white and genital. I cannot, in good faith, my moral compass does not allow me to participate. I apologize. In Jesus' name, goodbye.
Nate, what do you got? As a man who owns a white dick.
It's a dick and one ball.
I'm the only way. I think it's two balls. I think it's two balls.
But if it's two balls, then the forward ball is like massive. And also, if it's two balls, those balls have to be in a fucking vice grip.
Well,
Like,
it's been in a cup. He's been wearing a
those
cup.
balls.
He's been wearing a cup all game. Like, I wear a cup every
here's the
Thursday, and it does make your dick look weird.
Here's the question, though: if that's the two balls, then where is the penis?
It's up high. Look at the diagram.
No.
Yeah.
It is his penis. His penis leans right. His penis leans to the right, and the big bulbous thing is his right-leaning
Yeah,
penis.
but then if that's the case, his balls are like twisting under his leg.
No, it's not true.
No. The second ball is behind the penis.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. We'll let you be the judge. Now you've heard the arguments. You let us know. Sound off in the comments. Sound off in the chat. What do we got? We got
no dick pics, please. Do not send us dick pics.
I got a call. Did you?
If you do send us dick pics, have diagrams.
Yes.
Put work into it. Have scientific things happening.
Be creative, artistic.
Okay. You guys have the call open. In the email. You got it, Nate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shit. Damn. No, I don't.
It's in the email.
Is it in the Twitter?
Yeah, it's in the email. It's in the email. Here, then I'll read the. We had a text. We have a text from, I believe it's my friend Ben, friend of the show Ben, who may or may not have broken the Jerry story about coming in second place. It's however you want to. However he brought it to light. Let's put it that way. He was one of a voice. But we have message from him. Here, I gotta load it up. It is.
I have the call, by the way. Whenever we gotta do that.
Okay.
I got it.
No wait, that's my message that I sent. It is. Deb's. We just got a text that says Deb's apologists now. Question mark. Debs. I don't know what's wrong with Eugene Debs. I think that he was.
Oh my God! I see we've incurred the wrath of the.
We got another one.
The second council of syndicalists who are also Leninist, third era, anarchist, Marxists.
Someone still got a grudge about the China
that
episode.
splinter group. We've really incurred the ire of.
We also have Bird was a notorious asshole. Not true. Bird was a notorious very cool guy. Friends with Michael, or with what's his face with Magic Johnson.
You can also be an asshole without being problematic. I don't really know about Larry Bird, but I just want to acknowledge you can be an asshole without being problematic.
Exactly.
Distinction.
Being an asshole can be cool.
Yeah.
Okay, the one from Ben is Jerry Reinsdorf hates fun, and also I don't like him. I can't disagree there.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's very true.
I mean, Ben can say it because Ben is the coolest White Sox Jewish fan that is named Ben. There's a notorious other one who's the worst one. So Ben can say that, but criticizing Jerry Reinsdorf, it is anti-Semitic. I mean, you just gotta throw it out, especially when you call him cheap. We all know what that means. Yes, that one. Yes, it's actually yes. So okay, so you ready to listen to the call? I have not listened to this call at all. So hopefully,
I enjoyed it.
Okay, very good. I think this is from our friend Tony, who is another White Sox fan. So let me play that. I'm gonna open it with this application. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm playing it right now.
Hey, this is Terry from Mount Greenwood calling in. I just got to say that this is the off season where Rick Hahn's really got to shit or get off the pot, as it were. Not to say he's a bad guy. I welcome to have him have a beer with them. It's an egalitarian society, or a fair society, as it's colloquially known. But this guy's running the team into the ground, and I just need to see some results. So if Jerry Reinsdorf doesn't want to give him some money to spend, I say he should go upstairs and tell him to fuck off and kick him in the balls if he has to. Anyways, I don't got no real question. I just want to say that and kind of move along with my day, get it off my chest, things like that, as it were. You guys have a wonderful afternoon or evening. I don't know what time you record, but yeah, have a good time.
Oh, I ruined the kayfabe. I'm sorry. That was not Tony. That was the other guy from Mount Greenwood.
Hey, tell you what, Tony. Thank you very much, Tony. We really like what you said about. There's a good point about Rick Hahn. Okay, good point about Rick Hahn.
Yeah. No. I agree. What do you feel about Hahn? Do you feel like Hahn has been given too large of a leash, Cliff or Maurice?
I think you'd be given a bit of a leash calling me Clifton, and I think I'm.
He stopped halfway. He got two times.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I dead named you. I dead named you.
You get that check swing just in. I don't know. It's a close call. Yeah. No, I think I don't know if he's been given too much of a leash, just because we do know that our team doesn't like to spend money. So I don't think he's been given too much of a leash. He did have a couple good trades. I think that the White Sox organization is sort of infamous for not being really able to develop position players, and so I wonder how that's going to impact Rick Hahn's legacy. I do think, though, even from the beginning of this, the rebuild a few years ago, we've all kind of been looking forward to this 2020 season. I think we were looking forward to the 2018-2019 off season, but I think the 2020 season is the one that we were kind of looking at okay, this is going to be it. If we're not there by then, it's a bust, Yeah. So I would say personally, I'm waiting until the end of this next off season, and if we don't sign a big player, I say then just let loose on the White Sox, let loose on Rick Hahn. Well, you can already let loose on the White Sox, but definitely let loose on Rick Hahn. I would say give him just a few more months. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say the White Sox when the White Sox were the best, when they were the best team in Chicago, they would always have one player that he played first baseman,
mute him.
hit about 215, 220, never got on base, and hit about 40 home runs, 100 RBIs, bat about 205, 210.
Okay, first
so I
off,
think perfect.
Frank Thomas hit 320 every year.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about 2000. So I'm saying let's bring in good friend of mine, I think great player, Chris Davis. Let's do Chris Davis. Bring in Chris Davis. That's the play for 2020.
Now you're just doing Trump. You're just doing a Trump one now.
We love it. We love it.
Chris Davis,
folks,
great. He's great. Lots of home runs. I will say.
Yeah.
Nate, the Trump impersonations are so much better now that we've got live video. Now that we see it, like now we see that video, baby. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
I tell you what, someone in my room, they just said something about Chris Davis. Should I say it, folks? Should I say? If I say it, I'm gonna get in big trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. But should I say it? I should say. I'm gonna say it. No, I shouldn't say it. I'm gonna let them say it.
I can't.
They can say it.
Oh, please God.
You should do it. No, you should do that one, but with Napoli, and then the crowd starts saying Napoli.
Oh, no.
Listen,
No.
they're saying Napoli. I'm not saying Napoli. They're saying Napoli.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Oh, man. We're all going to hell for that last segment.
That is the show. That's all that there is left.
That's good.
I made it through 2 mezcals and some white ties, so I'm ready for bed. What do we got? I know we made that announcement. We're still working. You know, we're on time. We're figuring it out. It's a lot of stuff.
It's happening.
It's
Yeah,
coming.
it is happening.
It is happening.
But yeah. So until then, follow us on Twitter, Southpaws_pod. Follow me. You see the names: Crappy Oats, Nathan_Luff, Good Doctor 14. What else do we got? Anything else? I don't know. Send us your music. We're trying to get musical features, so I think that's kind of important. I released a mission statement for season 2, which was what? It was I want us to do something where we crowdfund a youth sports team and we sponsor them.
Yes.
I said, what else? Oh, do the musical guests. Do the musical
Live
guests.
show.
Do a live show, and then eat even
Forget
more.
the fourth one.
Eat more kratom than last year,
Yes. Okay.
which I think we're on a good start. Maurice has to start doing it. He won't eat kratom. He acts like it's very it's unobtainium for him.
You are garbage. you are. Is my microphone on right now? You are trash.
Oh,
Let's get that louder.
I think it's going out.
Trash.
It's going out. Yeah. Until then, I'm gonna play the song by Julie again. I hope you enjoy it. She's gonna release it on her Bandcamp, so you can pick up. I think you can pick up her entire discography for like $20, and there's a lot of stuff. And if you like shoegaze and things of that nature, it's good stuff. So support the artists, enjoy the show, and we'll see you next week. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.